can only be derived from an internal system of ethics because external systems lack normative force. Agents are only compelled to act according to their internal desires. So an external conception of morality provides no reason to obey its principles. For example, the external maxim that we ought not kill provides that we have no reason to kill besides on the status who would not be compelled to follow because there's a reason to kill. External sources lack universal appeal to the individual's motivation must be connected to the subject. Second, the pursuit of events necessarily involves empowerment through affirming our ability to move forward cost upon us, right? An agent who adopts the solving a cost proposal also aims to overcome resistance is skilled, like one which needs much enjoyment from solving easy puzzles to the point of playing a game that is a challenge. We aim to encounter and overcome resistance to with the pursuit of events. We do this because we are motivated by drives and drives that aim to manifesting their characteristic form of activity and attainment of opposition satisfy the drive from the performance to the drive. Activity satisfies the drive, therefore actors are drive motivated. Third, morality cannot be based on metaphysical or abstract principles about human nature. Rather, we must ground morality in evolving form to critic conception of good McIntyre. From factual premises, this is watch is grossly inaccurate in timekeeping. If also this is bad watch, these are valid only because the special characteristic of concept of good watch such concept or functional concept in terms of the purpose of which a watch serves. Thus, the concept of a watch cannot be defined independently if the concept of a good watch. Moral arguments about the concept of man understood having essential nature, the essential purpose and function to say that man stands for good man and watch stands for good watch. Fourth, the willpower allows them to fulfill their function through constantly striving to raise above straight their flawed present condition to allow them to constantly overcome their current self-stifle, right? The drive for more power will lead to individual constantly overcoming oneself. The human being should be the creator of oneself, should be the own master, defender of rules. The individual must create an ethic that respects the will to power. This potentiality exists in every individual, and to be a matter of individual actually choosing to actualize in its own will to power. Fifth, our identity are constantly, therefore there could be no being, only becoming. We are constantly changing. We have not reached an end state, therefore there could be no being. Morality cannot be based on fixed concepts. Silk said. Nietzsche positions that if we are primary being and becoming were contingent to it, that being would already have become, and thus no change would be possible. If the universe were capable of permanent fixity, there would be an entire course, a single moment of being in the search attempt to no longer be becoming one, could no longer observe anything becoming whatsoever. This is another reason to prefer the will to power, because it only ethical framework that adheres to ontologies and specifically respects and links the constantly changing human being. Humans have the ability to overcome resistance or to evolve into better human beings, and oppression and coercion, state obligation that everyone must act on in order to rise up in our own will to power against it, since coming to authority is the only extension of slave morality supposed to overcome resistance. Inherency. Status quo rehabilitation such as not focused on encouraging dancing, Jellick writes. Structure of treatment for offenders includes cognitive behavior and learning-based intervention programs. Offender and treatment programs encourage the development of alternative behavior strategies such as anger management, communication skills training, the acquisition of parenting, interpersonal problem solving, and generalized skills. Plan text. The United States criminal justice will implement a vocational rehabilitative program whereby convicted criminals are encouraged to dance and express themselves, given resources, and execute moves. And topically confirms Frank et al. The aim of correctional education should be to enrich the lives of inmates, propel them with new levels of self-government, to bring prisoners closer to true understanding of humanity. The correction skills when a prisoner becomes examining themselves to their life with the lens of education, such as dance and choir. When this happens, the prison's journey through the post-secondary education evolves from being simply an educational experience of transformative learning across the evolution, speed, and rehabilitating a person's mind into one of responsible, productive citizens, i.e. general education, vocational programs, and higher education. And Reservato clarifies the plan. Rehabilitative provides creative arts and inmates dance movement, visual arts. A program of dance will benefit inmates both emotionally and physically. Both many of them may come from an environment where dance is a major part of their culture and use movement as some sort of expression. Classes here were well attended from the start, however, it took time to gain the men's trust. And all rehabilitative activities engage prisoners to develop communication skills, collaboration, goal, and problem solving. Even in the harsh environment of prison life, the men would learn to develop the ability to outward expression, trust, and camaraderie. And retribution consists with any vocational dance opportunities twice at all. Retribution such as God, no person at the prison ever provided an opportunity to engage in any meaningful educational vocational program. The great majority spend their days and nights in idleness. Many of them are confined to themselves, but in the brief time required to consume their low-quality ration, the advanced prison system, the contrary, rarely spend more than 2% of their budgets on programs. This also means that I outweigh on the ability to dance, because even if retribution gave people to dance, my world choice compared to them is consistent with the will of power. They have access to music and room to strive and practice movements in the vocational rehabilitation. There is no music in jail, nor is there enough room for breakdancing. And always err out, because the idea of rehabilitation is to fix the offender in specific ways. Dance, including where the idea of retribution to give what is due. Dance cannot be due punishment, since it's not a crime to dance in the first place. Dance and the idea of retribution creates a shifting negative apathy where they get to co-op AC offensive ground by adding non-textual advantage to their apathy. Don't drop out for abuse of interest because I had to go into the ground blind, so I didn't know what is the best intro for the anti-advocacy. Then advantage is the will to power and overcoming resistance. First, Nietzsche says that dancing is a function of becoming, Lamont 1. Most commentators insist that Nietzsche could not have been speaking literally when he describes dancing. In each case, the commentators conclude that he was speaking for rhetorical effect. Yet these responses prove that Nietzsche was right about the depth at which we believe that what words can represent is real and beneficial. Nietzsche sought to elevate dance alongside verbal practice as a medium for generating ideas capable of affirming the dynamic creative bounty of our bodily being, and dancing to overcome resistance is the key to affirming life, Lamont 2. Nietzsche uses dance in his arguments where he articulates the relationship that is characterized by the term revaluation. Nietzsche's dancers are directly engaged with the process of revaluing values. That in their dancing, they are overcoming the values alive in their bodies, developing the energy to strengthen and to affirm life, and often suffering and joy, even the conceiving of recurring eternally dance appears to be signaling both the means and the fruit of practicing the performance of creating life-affirming values, and any assertion of willpower requires a relationship between the new becoming person and their body, something that dancing uniquely allows. Lamont 3. Nietzsche introduces dance with its free spirits do they affirm life and all its manifestations and weaving among the various references to dance and birth and human. This chapter captures the seldom noticed to mention Nietzsche's work. The process of exerting the will requires the person engaged in practice that will enable him or her to develop a new relationship with his or her own bodily being, i.e. dance. This means that I'm most concerned with Nietzsche and conception of willpower because dancing recognizes the fundamental reality that there is no being, only becoming, which brings an additional ontological warrant to overcome resistance and continually achieve freedom. Dancing solely facilitates this. Nietzsche. The degree of resistance must be continually overcome in order to remain on top of the measure of freedom. Understands the will, the power, the age in which the individual achieves freedom. The soccer man is attained. One must oppose tyrants to become a tyrant, i.e. free. And when a person dances, when attains freedom of movement, we should consider everyday laws in which we have not danced. Thus you affirm.
Why can't prisoners dance in their prisons?
That's through, there's a couple reasons why. But
like, why can't they, in their prison cells, just start dancing?
So the argument is that the state necessarily stops them from being able to do this. That's coming out of the Weiss analysis.
Wait, so they have someone watching them constantly in their prison cells, and if they dance, the guard comes and prevents them from dancing?
No. My argument is that it's a weighing argument, right? I'm not claiming 100% solvency. I'm saying, like, look, when we encourage people to dance, we're allowing them to dance, and we're allowing them sufficient resources to be able to dance.
That's fine. How do I turn the AC?
How
do I turn the AC?
You could prove it different maximally after respecting the will to power. You could weigh like how we overcome resistance.
Okay, so what is the will to power?
Okay, so the framework sets up that the will to power is essentially what human beings do to overcome resistance. So when we encounter resistance, i.e. like an end, that's always something that we have to overcome, right?
So whenever we're resisting something that is moral, like,
I mean, my argument is that we should overcome resistance, right? That's what
all forms of resistance.
Yeah, and then
so rules are bad.
Wait, what? No.
Wait, rules constrain our ability to do things, and that would mean that resisting that rule would be sufficient to meet your interpretation of the will to power. Correct?
I mean, no, that's not what would be sufficient, right? I'm not saying like rules.
You're saying resistance is good, and if rules constrain what we do, why isn't resisting that rule sufficient?
I'm trying to answer your question.
Okay.
The answer that the framework sets up is that these things, like these rules, i.e. the rule right now in the prison system, the way that we overcome it is by going with the plan, right? Because we encourage them to come up with their own values instead of pressing, right? Because the essential nature of the will to power is overcoming the suppression. My argument is that these necessary rules are resistances. We overcome it by the plan.
Wait. So things that constrain us free us?
What?
Like the rule that we ought to let them dance frees us from, like, it allows us to resist. That's fine. Can I see the AC? Alright, let's go to the AC. So, do you have a disclosure page?
Yeah.
Did you disclose this plan?
Yeah.
How long ago?
Like 10 minutes before.
10 minutes before the run.
I haven't broken it yet, though.
Okay, that's fine. Can I see the AC? Sure. So in order for me to respond to this plan, I would have had to have pre-round prep against dancing.
No, you can. I know that you have a niche at NC.
Sure.
So.
Okay. Let's talk about the framework about the will to power. So, what are the justifications? Can you go through them?
Sure. So, the first is internalism. It says that the external maxim that we ought not kill.
All right, what's the next argument?
Okay, sure. Costafanis talks about how the pursuit of ends necessarily entails that we always try to move forward, right? Which means that to move forward is to overcome some sort of resistance, or at least to come up with a state of our flight.
When I do something, I'm overcoming resistance?
No, the argument is that the Silksay analysis proves why this is true. He says that there is no being, there's only becoming. So when you have this pursuit of ends, that necessarily entails that you become something else. So there's no end state, right? So when you're striving for an end, you're trying to go above your former state of previous being, because you're never a constant like being, right?
Okay. see it?
Yeah.
Where is it?
It's Frank et al.
It says the. So what's the link to from dances to which card links dances to full power?
It's in the advantage. It's Lamont 1, 2, 3, and Nietzsche.
All of them link it?
Yes.
So they have pairings.
I don't even know if they're on it.
What type of dance do we do?
My argument is that we should allow to do whatever type of dance best.
So what is dancing?
It's something like executing their own moves in a way that would like reaffirm their own value. I mean, the point.
Executing their own moves, okay.
I mean, executing their own moves like to some sort of music. I mean, I don't. That's part of the reason why the case makes sense. That I don't define something that would have to fit within the conception of dancing. They do what they think best represents their will and power by executing whatever moves that they feel would best do this, right? So I don't say a specific type of dancing that they need to do.
So the argument at the top of the AC is that we always have to be changing our moral, or changing who we are. Or what's the argument about changing?
I mean, what argument are you talking about? I mean, like the argument is that we are always changing. There is no such thing as only being, right? We are constantly changing.
And ethics have to.
Ethics has to account for this.
Okay. Sorry. 120 left. 120 left. It's going to be MC, and then an off, which like links to his framework, and then his AC.
Alright. Can you turn your brightness up also, just so you look at your shoulder? Are you going to be standing up?
What?
You're standing up.
Oh, I can sit down. It's chill.
I mean, I was just wondering, but you're not going to be like holding your laptop right up, right?
No, I won't.
Okay.
Ready? Morality is a neurological emotive process. Any real fact is just an illusion or emotive phenomenology. Green. Reason evidence from neuroscience indicates that moral judgment is just an emotional matter. Intuitive afterlife cognitive process accompanied by perceptual phenomenology, i.e. humans can nevertheless, let's see, determine whether a given face is male or female. All this makes sense from an evolutionary point of view. We have evolved mechanisms for making quick emotion-based judgments, for seeing rightness and wrongness. Natural selection outfitted us with the mechanism for making emotion-based moral judgments. More realism is a byproduct of efficient cognitive process. This functions as an argument about how humans always have to be changing, and morals ethics always have to be changing. My argument that emotions are always changing, and that they're subjective to each situation. So that's what I mean. His burden of like ethics must change. Then thus morality must be grounded in our emotive intuitions, or can't be internally binding or guide action. Hey, people have built more sense of creative plausible feelings, again corresponding feelings of disbelief. We have attained moral knowledge by immediate feeling, find our internal sense, not by a chain of argumentation and induction. We speak not philosophically. When we talk of reason, reason is a state of passion that we never pretend that any other office to serve them. Reason cannot inspire that particular action, lead to death of many people, but unless we care about those people, we can not advise taking against action. So my argument here is that the only way we can actually have these have an internal motivation is if we look at emotions, because that's the only thing that motivates us biologically. So this takes out his argument of willpower. Even if willpower links to an internal space ethical system, my argument is the only thing that can possibly link it is emotions. Thus, the same is consistent with neurological emotional feelings. I contend that people emotionally prefer retribution to sympathy because sympathy is secondary to our feeling motive outreach to crime. Retribution is comparatively more consistent with our emotional intuition. Clark summarizes more. We feel more outraged by witnessing flagrant acts of wrongdoing. We feel that retributive punishments early impose on the better version of such feelings and evidence for truth that retributive our feeling about guilt thus generated that we deserve punishment that suffering that is punishment that makes it morally required to punish. Retribution may indeed sometimes be inspired by emotions to minimize conflict. Our judgment we discard the sympathies generated by our adversity undergone by offenders such as these are inconsistent with our powerful retributive inclinations. Furthermore, they're inaccurate. And this is empirically verified. Byrne, Gatcher et al. In 2002 state. Free writing comes strong negative emotions, and this is consistent with my hypothesis that emotions trigger punishment for following reasons. First, negative emotions trigger punishment. Most punishment acts to be expected to be executed. In our experiments, 74.2% of all punishment acts follow this pattern. Second, negative emotions become approximate cause of punishment because negative emotions become more intense than free writing, deviated from the further average investment of others. Third, the punishment threat is rendered immediately credible because people are well aware that they trigger strong negative emotions when they free write. Therefore, observations are consistent with the view that emotions are approximate cause behind punishment. The off, which links to this framework. Okay. if will to power is true and that we always have to respect we always have to resist, this means the state's will is always good since they assert their own power and they're always resisting. Williams. Confronted with the problems of international societies, one's own interest, a state may be compelled to act alone upon its responsibility. It writes its own decision and it restricts its own powers, and such actions is judgment and due to appreciation of the fact that the state position which the individual does not experience, the individual does not to exist, necessity for independent actions to states from time to time until today. So what this basically says here is that when we have to respect the will to power, I get to respect who's resisting more. Who is asserting power, right? He says resisting power is resisting control is important, and the government does that by asserting its own control. If the government does, and insofar as that's true, that means they define what is correct under a system of ethics. Thus, my thesis is that under this is that the U.S. will retributive justice by favoring rehab, retribution over rehab. Fisher 12. American shock response hints at how deeply we may have come to internalize our understanding of justice. American justice, like most of the Western world's built on retributive justice, it's implied to define justice as appropriately punishing someone for the acts of harmful society. Our system does not include ideas at its foundation. Though retributive justice is about enforcing both rules of law and more abstract ideas of fairness, crimes are measured up by their damage to society and its society and working through the court system metes out and turn punishment justice is valued is treated as valuable and important for itself, not just incapacitated effects. AC. Okay. You can go to his plan now. Expansion doesn't necessitate value. Even if you can prove that he is expanding state action, that doesn't necessitate that he's valuing rehab over retribution. I.e., I can use more rehab and that I still value retribution over rehab. For example, if I use more paper towels than an iPhone, I still value iPhones more than paper towels. So at that point, we can see that an expansion of something doesn't necessitate value over. So he's not affirming the resolution because he's by advocating an expansion of this dance program. He needs to prove as sort of aim of punishment interpretation of the resolution, not an expansion of an advocacy. Go to the offense. He's like Lamont. Go to Lamont. One empirically denied. People dance and they don't resist, overcome anything. This argument just falls. Two, some dance is bad. I.e., dance that tries to appeal to the emotions of other people and not resist power. Instead, they're trying to appease other people. That's not resisting power. He needs to prove why so he has no solvency. And he defined dance as executing your own moves. If I walk around, I'm executing my own moves. If there's music playing and I'm walking, that's sufficient. So he has no he has no unique impact because I can just prisoners still obviously walk around. So that's sufficient to prove that he has no unique offense. Then again, his impact is not unique. People can still dance themselves. There's no reason to why they can't do so. There's no reason why you would prefer rehab because they can still do so in the neg world. And this is not unique. People can still dance outside prison system. So even if they leave the prison system, once they leave the prison system, they can express their own resistance to power. There's no reason as to why. He doesn't give reasons why as to why we need to resist power now. Then go up to the value for return debate, starting on the internal sense of desire. Cross-apply hate here, the only way we can actually be in is number one in the AC. Cross-apply hate here, there's no reason, you can never we can never be internally motivated or to act because emotions, definitionally, they control our passions, they control our reason as to why we do something. So at that point, even if will to power is important, it doesn't matter because we can never use it in terms of emotivism because emotions always come first because they biologically define what we are desired by, what we desire to do. Then jump to the solvency advocate. The solvency advocate does not advocate, doesn't advocate what he actually says it does. The solvency advocate just says we should have education that tries to enforce correctional treatment. Like we should try to help individuals, but he doesn't specifically say that dance is what we should advocate in America. He doesn't say everyone in prison should be able to dance. So at that point, he doesn't have a solvency advocate. So drop his argument, drop the plan text because when he doesn't have a solvency advocate for his position, it's unpredictable because I can never. There's going to be an infinite number of plan texts without solvency advocates describing what could be, but not that they should. So here's how the round breaks down. First voting issue is going to be the NC. NC always comes first. Second, I'm linking into his Nietzsche framework. But third, I've also proven that he has no unique impacts coming from the plan text. But finally, you can look to his expansion idea of the interpretation of the resolution because it doesn't actually show that we value retribution, rehab over retribution.
How do I change NC?
The emotive NC? You show that our emotional response actually prefers rehab.
Okay, wait, so you're reading empirical analysis that says that.
We provide better empirics. That's how util works, right? We provide better empirics for advantages. In a
Okay,
way.
no, but this is not util, right?
Right,
You're
but
just
you can-
saying empirically, this is how elections work, right?
Look, Adam, this NC's been turned multiple times. I can give you an
Okay,
argument.
wait, hold on.
There's like polls,
Drew,
right? You can prove that.
Drew,
Yes.
If I read arguments as to why rehabilitation rehabilitation would be like pitiful or something like that, would that function as an argument for why this would be a
I'm not sure how pity, like,
If we pity them, we feel bad for them, meaning that
sure.
it's a reason, that would
But I mean,
trigger our emotion.
I can extend my offer and say
Okay, what emotions matter in DNC?
our emotional, all emotions matter.
So like when we're pissed at them, what about if we're like, what if we really, really like these criminals? Why does that mean that we
Right.
treat them
That's what the offense speaks to, right? The offense says even though we care about them, our moral outrage and want for retributive punishment outweighs this.
Okay. So the green stuff and the hay stuff only links into the it links into the internalism stuff in the AC, right?
But it also functions independently.
Why?
The argument is that the only way we can derive moral norms is if we look to our emotions, because our moral judgments are based in emotions.
Okay. Why is that? Alright, that's fine.
It's
Okay.
like biology proven.
Alright, so what's this, on the Nietzsche off, I guess. Let's go over the Williams part.
Sure.
What does this mean? This means that the state has to exert their will.
So the argument I'm making is that if you think that asserting power is good, we should value what they value in terms of morality under your conception of will to power, because the state asserts its own power, and therefore they're the ones who actually, controlling what morality means. That's what will to power means, right?
Alright,
We need
sure.
to. Okay.
So the Fisher stuff,
Fisher just says that
we value rehab.
government values retribution.
right now.
Yeah, the government, inherently values retribution.
Okay, so how do you link it to the AC? I mean, this is descriptive, right?
The argument is that your interpretation comes secondary to mine from William. William's interpretation comes first.
Okay, that's not answering my question. I'm asking you, this is descriptive, correct?
I mean, no, right?
You're not saying that
The
they
framework
should, no,
would-
not true. You're not saying that they should value it this way, that the state should.
Well, I'm saying you should value determine value by looking to
Where
right.
does it
That's
you
what
should-
William says. You should look to who's
Yeah,
asserting
where
power.
does it say that you should do that versus just that that's?
No.
not-
William said I made analysis as to why you should look to what the government does if we're conceding will to power.
Okay. So order is going to be AC extensions at the top of the framework, and then is off case, the Nietzsche case or whatever, and then the NC. And on the off case for the conclusion, it's just going to be an answer to the contention on the off, so it doesn't matter what the framework of the off case is. Cool.
He makes a big mistake by not doing framework work in the framework. You can extend the cost of cost arguments and the pursuit and necessarily entails empowerment to referring our ability to move forward. This means that this is going to warm the prerequisite to the NC standard, because I say that first of all, the N is carrying by emotions, i.e. when he says we have to care about emotions, and that functions as a prerequisite, that isn't it, which means that we always have to care about willing our power first, because we have to affirm our ability to move forward in the first place. That means that since our emotions are in constant flux, we always have to care about reaffirming our ability to move forward before that. That means the AC framework is coming before. That's literally the only argument that he's necessarily being consistent with his first meta constraint, but I would also say you can extend the McIntyre analysis which said the morality is it has to be consistent with an evolving conception of good, which means that he either has to concede that the AC framework comes to prerequisite because it's the only one that's consistent with the evolving conception of good, because it allows us to always move forward, or that means the framework is false because he's not meeting the meta constraint. Also, first of all, he also the McIntyre card gives an analysis as to why we have to care about naturalism and naturally becoming things. So he's not responding to that. Extend the Warren, it says the concept of watch cannot be defined independently of the concept of good watch. Moral arguments involve the concept of man understood as having an essential nature, an essential purpose or function. That is to say, man has a good watch, or man and watch has a good watch. He's conceding that. He gives no explicit linking to naturalism. He's not going to be meeting that burden. Also, you can study diagonal naturalism that the will to power is a natural function of human beings. This is going to take out as ontology more to the NC, because I tell you very specifically that is linked to the ontology argument prerequisite, because we wouldn't even have the ability to have emotion in the first place if we didn't have sufficient evolution to reaffirm our ability to move forward. He's always going to be losing on this way as a very mind whenever it comes to prerequisite, because we wouldn't be able to evaluate emotions, things like that, if we didn't have the ability to move forward. Also, you can extend the silk which says that morality there can be no being, only becoming, which means that he also doesn't meet this specific meta constraint. Never gives a reason why emotions would always be consistent with becoming. Instead, I would say that this is an external maxim that we always have to care about emotion, which means that it's just a end state, which means that we always have to evaluate the AC as a prerequisite. He's simply not doing enough work. He also makes no specific links into naturalism, which means you always have to evaluate my framework first, because 100% external probability that my arguments are true. Then on the plan text. His only argument is that expansion doesn't be valued, but I would say that first of all, I meet this piece of statements because I'm not expanding anything, I'm just evaluating the truth, the good of dancing. I'm also the NC requires implementation, because he specifically said that we have to do certain things like implement a retributive approach in order to necessarily allow for things like caring about emotions. That means that he's going to be linking into this. Also, don't give him any credence on this argument. Also, call for the Frank analysis. It's very clear that we should be valuing a dancing program in a rehabilitative correctional approach. That's very clear. Don't buy his argument. There's also no implication of that. And extend the plan text, which says that the United States justice will implement a vocational rehabilitative program whereby convicted criminals are encouraged to dance and express themselves, given resources to execute moves. On his defense on the advantages. First, he says that empirical and literally this doesn't make any sense. The will to power isn't concerned in any sort of empirics. Also, his number 3 says that we can just walk around. You can extend the weighing analysis, where I say very specifically that I'm always going to outweigh as for the Weiss analysis, because it says very specifically you extend Weiss. It says the retribution is inconsistent with any form of dance, but I'm always going to be outweighing. You can extend the weighing analysis under that, because I say that I always outweigh, because even if you could dance with retribution anyway, that's always going to be I'm always going to be outweighing, because I encourage dancing to happen where he doesn't. Also, say that there's more room for dancing. There's things like music, which means I'm always outweighing. Extend the Lamont 1, which says that it's a function of becoming. Extend Lamont 3, which says that there is a relation between the becoming body and the new becoming self, which means that this is a prerequisite even to his arguments on the off. But on the off, the status quo now affirms him against current sentencing policy takes no chance on whether which is valued higher Dumper in 2012. The sentencing guidelines by the United Convention pursuant on sentencing where you can write further the basic of criminal punishment, deterrence, incapacitation, criminal punishment, and rehabilitation. A systematic theoretical approach for these 4 purposes was not employed. The Commission a philosophical problem arose when the Commission attempted to reconcile the differing perceptions of the purpose of the criminal justice punishment. Both observing the criminal law created the ultimate aim of the law of punishment in particular is the control of crime. The Commission decided not to create a solely retributive or utilitarian paradigm according to one primacy over the other. As a practical matter, this choice between the competing purpose of the criminal punishment was unnecessary, because in most instances, the application by the philosopher produced the same or similar results. Not unique.
I'd like 120, I think.
Yeah, 120.
number 5 scientific constraint that you extended from the framework?
That's subset. It says that we are always in a constant flux, so we have to take that into account for the coefficient of B, which only depends.
What's the date on your evidence? Like, when in 2012?
I don't have the specific date. I said, you know, just pull it up actually.
No, no, still.
Alright, yeah, it's just 2012.
Yeah, that's true. So it's gonna be, so my off, ACE, NC, well, the interaction between the two frameworks, between the NC and AC, and then the opposite of the NC, then the AC. I'll signpost to make it clearer.
Can you just say that one more time?
So the off, the niche off,
Okay.
interaction between the two frameworks, NC off and AC.
Okay.
Extend Williams, it says the state asserts its own power, so the only way we can look to the only way we can look to Wills' power is if we look to who, the only way we can look to who asserts power. We have to look to who asserts power under Wills' power, and the only group that does that is the government, because they take power and a monopoly on the force of violence. He reads the reason as to why, actually, the government values both freedom and retribution, but this functions as a non-unique against them. Even if they value both forms of retribution and rehabilitation, that means Wills' power has no unique offense coming off of it, because we value both in terms of Wills' power. So at that point, he's getting no unique offense coming from the NC, or AC. Go to the NC, the interaction. Extend Green. It is in our brain to make moral judgments based on emotions, that this is internal to us. This is how we're biologically defined, that morality must be grounded in our emotions, and then extend Hayes, and morality must be grounded in our emotions. There can't be internally binding, that we can never actually care about acting if we don't use emotions, because they provide us the reasons, the passions for doing such actions. So, this is how this functions with the NC. He says I don't link naturalism and actually reasons to act, but my argument was specifically saying that the only way we can care about acting in some sort of way is if we use emotions. So this takes us in his burden analysis coming from the AC. His number four burden that he extends, that it's the ontological argument from Steigl. I don't know how to pronounce it. It says that we have to link it to his ontology, that we have to move forward with edits. But my argument was simply that emotions always change; they're subjected to us. That our situations change how our emotions are. So emotions move forward with our conditions. So I meet this burden. I made this analysis in the NC. But his number 5 burden was that I have to prove that it's internal. But I specifically prove that it's internal. I prove that we have a reason to act and a reason to change. Extend the analysis I made into another, that emotions change and there's a fixed situation. They crossify that argument. So I'm meeting both burdens, but also go to the AC framework. It was on the number 1 argument I made. Extend the argument that I made, that we can have no reason to act. We cannot move forward if we don't use emotivism, because we have no reason to act. At that point, we can't look to use power because there's no reason that we want to care. We have no reason to care for actions. So emotion, this is biologically proven. It's going to be outweighing any of his prescriptive moral claims coming from the AC. The analysis in Hayes specifically said that we can't be internally guided by some sort of logical chain of argumentation. It's only from what's within us, and that within us is emotions. This wasn't argument. This was made under Hayes in the NC, and I was doing specific cross applications in the NC. So I control the internal link, but also, the NC comes logically prior because it provides scientific reasons as to what motivates us to act. So at that point, even if he provides if he talks about like Wills' power, the problem with this is that it's not science always comes first because it actually has unfalsifiable proof behind it. Go to Clark. Extend Clark that we feel anger about our crimes, that we disregard sympathies to offenders, that we feel, i.e. Adam Lanza, like even though we feel bad for him that he is going to go through all this pain and death penalty if he was alive, we still want him punished. That comes first. Then extend the system empirically verified for gadget that free writing makes us angry, and then 74% of the time we want lawbreakers and to have punishment. Go to the AC. The plan text. Extend the plan doesn't affirm that expansion does not inherently valuing over that I can have more paper towels, use more paper towels than an iPhone, but I still value an iPhone more than the paper towel. So his number one is that he's not expanding. He's saying that dancing is intrinsically good, but my argument is that if you're expanding a policy, that means you're not proving an aim of punishment view of retribution, of rehabilitation. His number two is that the NC requires implementation, but I'm not linking it. I'm saying that we must value the aim of punishment is retributive success based on our emotions, and that's how moral statements function. I don't buy it in. Go to the offense and the AC. Go to the last argument I made, that it is non-unique because people can dance outside their cells after prisons. Even if he thinks this is a bad argument, he doesn't do line by line on this. This means all of his impacts are non-unique, and he has no unique offense generated on the NC. So there's no way he can get any offense in this round at the point in which he drops a non-unique. This is how the round breaks down. First, the NC comes first. He doesn't do any line by line in the framework, and he says I don't link into his preconditions, but I specifically did that analysis in the NC under each card. Also, he has no unique offense coming from the NC, so I have 100% strength of link, so that's going to be the easiest place you can vote on. Second, the off case, even though he provides he provides more evidence that says that we may value rehab retribution, the fact that there's two conflicting claims means there's no actual conclusion in will to power that both systems of ethic, both aim of punishments, function under will to power, that both states value. So that is the first non-unique on his offense. The second non-unique is that people can still dance outside their cells, so there's no reason why we have to implement that now. So at that point, he has no offense coming from the AC. Quickly jump up to to the argument I made that people can still walk around and that they don't need to have a dancing program. I.e., I can dance in a prison cell and I can pretend I'm listening to music, or I can listen to music. I.e., there's no reason as to why we can't listen to music in prisons. So at that point, there's no reason as to why we can't. Retribution is inconsistent because we're still given the ability to dance, right? He's saying that he outweighs, but his weighing analysis literally means that we have to be dancing as we're walking, dancing in every form, everything we do. Because he's saying retribution, the retribution punishment is not is inconsistent. But the problem with this is that it isn't. His justification is that we always need to be dancing, but that just doesn't make sense. So there's a bunch of places you can easily vote neg. The NC, non-uniques on the AC, and I'm winning the framework debate.
30 seconds. Order's going to be AC, and I'm not really sure how you guys flowed the framework debate, but I'm going to be doing on the AC, wherever it's most convenient for you though. Then the off case.
Sorry, let's just start with the AC framework.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be this whole framework debate, wherever it is, but there's going to be exceptions, so it's probably easier to do on the AC. Okay. So we're going to start.
Sucks for him, he just dropped the most important reason why we evaluate my favorite first. You can send the number one argument that I clearly said in the last week. He's still saying actually that morality, there's no such thing as being, there's only becoming, which means you're always going to evaluate my favorite first because I very clearly said the ontology argument, which says that my ontology always comes first, and he would have no option of emotion if we didn't exist in the first place. The ontology says that if you didn't care about my favorite person, we wouldn't be involved in the first place, which means we wouldn't have the ability to be emotional at all. That's going to check factory arguments. Anyway, he drops the most important. You have to evaluate ontology first, especially evolutionary ontology, because at the point where we don't even exist in the first place, that's going to be a reason why you should reject his framework, or at the very least, his is not a prerequisite in life. Also, extending McIntyre analysis says morality has to be evaluating conception of good. He makes new links to the next speech about why he links it to naturalism. I say very specifically in the last speech that he cannot make his new links to naturalism because that would screw over my 2AR. So don't look at his new links to naturalism. I extend the diagonal conversation of the will to power is the natural function of the human because we always have to do this in order to constantly overcome ourselves. He's losing on the framework, very clear. At the very least, give me a risk because he isn't responding to ontology. He also doesn't extend his ontology. 100% risk that's true. On the plan text. Extending number one argument on his argument about how expansion doesn't mean value. I'm saying that I'm not expanding anything. I'm just valuing the intrinsic good of dancing. He's not actually responding. He literally just makes the assertion that I am. Also, second, you can extend the argument that the NC requires implementation also, i.e. he is fiating something just by giving someone a survey and figuring out whether or not people already like retribution. He's also figuring that at the very least he isn't providing any alternative, which means you should accept this interpretation anyway. Extend the criminal justice system will implement a vocational rehabilitation program where dancing is encouraged. Also, you can extend the Frank and Ed Alcar, which talks about how this is consistent with topic literature. He's not getting the argument how I'm not being consistent with topic literature. Extend the Weiss analysis that the retribution is inconsistent with dancing. This has been conceded throughout the round, which means the retribution at the very least is always going to be impossible with any form of dancing, which means it's not getting any impacts. Then extend Lamoth 1. This says that dancing is a function of becoming, which means that I'm always going to be 100% risk that this is true, especially with the framework, because it says that we literally cannot be becoming, we can only be a being if we do not dance, because we would never be able to link our new becoming personality with our new becoming body. That doesn't make any sense. He's not making any warrants for why that wouldn't be true. Also, the only argument he extends is that we can also do so in prison, or sorry, that we can also dance outside of prison. But I would say this literally doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter if we can dance outside of prison. He argues that Weiss means that we can't dance when we're in prison, which is a huge problem in terms of willpower. On the off case. He drops the jumper analysis and he doesn't extend his own patient analysis, which means you should always evaluate this with full creative system the way with the status quo. He's not extending off instead of the off case. He's losing the framework. It's done.
Can I see stuff there?